Ladies and gentlemen, the conflict between the US and China just got much worse. We just got news that China hackers have attacked key US infrastructure. Microsoft is putting everybody on a high alert and things haven't been resolved yet. So this is very worrying everyone. We're seeing the global tensions between the West and China increase. We saw the recent rebuke from the G7 nations on China and all the economic coercion they're doing, and with the military positioning that they're doing in the South China Sea. While unfortunately I think things are about to get much worse. So this is going to be a very important update. This has big consequences for the global economy and trade between the US and China, because they're the two biggest trading partners, and if something happens between the US and China and trade stops, the global economy will come to a halt. So look at this everyone. Microsoft says CCP hackers compromise critical US infrastructure as DHS warns of grave threat. So it is happening everybody. But at the same time, the US is beating their chest. They're trying to beat the drums of war to say we need to go and take down China before they take the position of number one. Microsoft on Wednesday warned that Chinese state-sponsored hacking group Vault Typhoon has compromised critical US cyber infrastructure across several industries, including manufacturing, construction, maritime, government, information technology, and education. And if you've been affected in any way, let us all know in the comments below. The group, which operated since 2021, is apparently working to disrupt critical communication infrastructure between the United States and Asia, as well as gather intelligence in order to weaken efforts during future crises. So why are they doing this, everyone? According to advisory from Microsoft, which has directly notified targeted or compromised customers, the attack is apparently ongoing. The company has urged impacted customers to close or change credentials for all compromised accounts. And I completely agree. If I was you, I'd be checking your Microsoft accounts to see if you've been impacted in any way whatsoever. Bloomberg notes Guam, a US island territory 1,600 miles east of Manila, has become increasingly important military and strategic hubs as tension with China ratchet up, including the possibility that it might use its military to enforce its claim to self-ruled island of Taiwan. So that's another thing everybody. We're seeing the tension between China and Taiwan is increasing rapidly, and with there being so much demand for chips right now, everybody wants a piece of Taiwan. That's why we're seeing companies like Nvidia absolutely skyrocketing today, especially with them throwing in a few AI buzzwords in their earnings report. Vault Typhoon initially gained access to targeted organizations through internet-facing devices manufactured by Fortinet Inc., a Sunnyvale, California-based cybersecurity company, according to Microsoft, adding it was still investigating how hackers were able to access the equipment. The hackers used whatever privileges they could gain from the Fortinet device to extract more credentials to authenticate to other devices on networks, Microsoft said. There, the hackers intended to perform espionage and maintain access without being detected for as long as possible. So these are very sophisticated hackers, and the Federal Reserve has said the biggest worry is that there's going to be some kind of cybersecurity event for the markets. Meanwhile, the Department of Homeland Security has warned that the CCP presents a grave threat to the US homeland and is actively working to undermine US security and damage America's economic standing, according to a senior officer. So I think this is quite obvious, and we all know this is happening, everyone, but the attacks are intensifying and the criticism and the attempts are becoming more and more out in the open, kind of like the China spy balloon that was floating all around the world. The CCP, which rules China as a single-party state, seeks to leverage the whole of Chinese nation against the United States, said Department of Homeland Security Assistant Secretary. We must match our adversaries' determination through a whole of government response, with DHS playing a leading role on the front lines of that defense every day. So this comes just a day after the DHS has been putting out these warnings. She said that the CCP regime operates globally and is using all instruments of national power to target the United States in its quest for global hegemony. Now, we all need to pay attention to what DHS says they're going to do, because this is going to have big consequences for us all. The United States, in response, must mobilize the whole of nation's defense against such aggression. The methods employed by the regime to undermine US influence are just too varied to warrant any other response. Oh boy, everyone, I don't know about you, but this sounds like the global conflict is about to get much, much worse. I wish we were having talks where they could think about de-escalating the situation, but unfortunately it seems like our leaders are desperate for war right now. China continues to employ both overt and clandestine methods to undercut US national security and economic security interests, such as stealing advanced and sensitive technologies, using traditional and non-traditional collectors, amplifying narratives that sow doubt in the US institutions, and massaging against US politicians it deems hostile. But Subcommittee Chair August Pfluger painted the growing competition between the CCP and the United States as one between democratic norms and values and rampant authoritarianism. The CCP's overreaching goal, he said, was not merely to do better economically than the United States, but to destroy the very foundations of the Republic as a whole and to dismantle the international system built upon those foundations. But what's been worrying me the most are these CCP police stations that have been popping up everywhere around the world. To that end, Pfluger provided the example of recently closed Manhattan-based CCP police station, which operated as an extension of the regime's Ministry of Public Security, and said that the CCP sought to infiltrate and influence state and local governments to compel the United States into adopting policies that favor China from the ground up. That's exactly right, everyone. I know and you all know that certain politicians have been brought out by China. They've been selling off the US, not just in the US, Australia as well, Europe. They've been selling off all the country's assets, all the country's land, all the country's farmland to China, and nobody is batting an eye. But hopefully with these new reports, that's all about to change. Subcommittee ranking member concurred, saying that the CCP was systematically destroying the United States' economic advantage through illicit means. Each year, the CCP's economic espionage against American businesses cost between 225 to 600 billion. That's exactly right. We all know China likes to rip off US manufacturing goods and also other luxury goods, and this is costing big business big money. It's indisputable that the CCP is actively trying to undermine the economy and security of the United States. More alarming, the intellectual property stolen by the CCP does not include commercial products, designs, and trademarks for cheap knockoffs and counterfeit product. It includes blueprints for fighter jets, helicopters, missiles, pharmaceuticals, and large-scale technology. And this is why we absolutely have to stop relying on China to manufacture all these goods, because they're stealing all these products' key information. And now the FBI is waiting on the situation as well. China is the greatest long-term threat. FBI Deputy Assistant Director Jill Murphy testified that such illicit activities were part of a broader push by authoritarian powers, including China, Russia, and Iran, which are cooperating one with another to erode the liberal system of governance and espoused by democratic nations. We see such nations as China, Russia, and Iran becoming more aggressive and more capable in their nefarious activity than ever before. Oh boy, everyone, the last thing we need is for the US and the West to go to war with China, Russia, and Iran at the same time. That will mean World War III, and the consequences will be catastrophic. Because Einstein once said he does not know what weapons will be used for World War III, but he knows World War IV will be fought with sticks and stones. So everyone, this is a very worrying situation, but we do have to pay attention to this, because this is going to have big consequences for the economy as investments between these two nations dry up. But what do you think is going to happen? There's a lot of closed door meetings, a lot of things our governments aren't telling us. Very hard to get the real story and what's really going on. So what do you think? Let me know down below. Now, for all my loyal viewers and subscribers who are watching, you're awesome. Thanks for watching. I'll see you all in the next video.